It's like 360, and today we're going to be talking about some astrological alignments that's taking place in the sky that's going to be affecting all of us on a grand scale. So when it comes to, the sun being a Libra, we're still, our actions and our viewpoints and our conscious awareness is still going to be more focused and more geared towards trying to establish some form of balance when it comes to the things that we're seeing outside of us. And that's going to be determining how well we're able to come to grips with ourselves. But the lesson from this sun transition is going to be coming from how well are we doing that internal shadow work? How well are we able to take self accountability? And how well are we able to have some form of self realization when it comes to where we may have fallen short in the past, so we can prevent these things from being forks in the road when it comes to us trying to go for our dreams, imaginations, goals, and desires, and things of those natures. So those are going to be the energies that we have to kind of look more into the detail in and fine tune, utilizing this Mercury in Virgo before it fully goes into Libra. Then that's going to shift our whole mind, our whole mind frame is going to be built around trying to establish and create some form of harmony, some form of balance, some form of fairness when it comes to the expressions of our ideas and how well we're able to relate and reciprocate our ideas with other individuals' ideas, so we can come to a common ground and have some form of understanding between both parties. So we're going to be seeing a lot of these energies being played out when it comes to things that's being broadcasted on social media and things that's being broadcasted when it comes to, politics and things of those natures. So if you're heavily into politics, you may come across some talking points when it comes to, it seems like Trump and Camilla are kind of coming to an agreement stance when it comes to the things that they are communicating and trying to get individuals emotionally aroused from expressing that sentiment. So this is how you can kind of understand and how you can kind of see astrology being used in these things. You can kind of see astrology being used in, things that deals with business, entertainment, religion, politics, education. We need more of it in education. But those three pillars, and this is how they're going to be utilizing this Mercury and Libra to kind of get a sentiment from us to make us feel like and come to the conclusion that, okay, the talking points that they're having and the types of things that they are discussing, it's kind of like putting us so we can be able to come to some form of common grounds and agreements with what's going on between both parties, which is the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. But at the end of the day, they may kind of, beauty up the words and beauty up the vocabulary and beauty up the things that they are communicating, so that we may not know that we're still getting rocked to sleep by these energies, and we still may be playing out energies of having to, it's like choosing both sides of the coins type of energy. Both sides of the same coins type of energy. We still may not know that, okay, they may say something to beauty up the energy to make us feel like, okay, what Camilla is saying is right. We need to go with her. But then Trump may counter it with whoever write his strip to kind of complement what she's saying. And then we may look at Trump like, okay, he's kind of right. Well, they both sound right. They both kind of coming off like they're both making sense and coming to some form of agreement. Maybe we should go for Trump because Trump is the face of the poster boy for this whole public party, this whole public debate party. So maybe we should go for Trump, not knowing that all these things are stripped it for it to sound that way, for them to beauty it up. So we won't have a choice but to pick one side of the coin without knowing that either way it goes, we're still fighting over one coin at the end of the day, regardless of who you vote for, regardless of who you choose, and regardless of who's being picked. Because behind the scenes, they already have these things planned out. And it's really a initiation ritual that's going on when it comes to what's actually going on with this whole debate. Because they don't want y'all to know that though. It's not really that we finna have a new president. It's gonna be some old Masons is getting ready to, they're getting ready to go through this death ceremony, and some new Masons is getting ready to roll in. So that's what's really going to be going on. And those are going to be the ideas and the theologies that we're going to be governed under when it comes to them being the face of those intellectual properties for the next 10 to 15 years. So those are going to be the energies that's really going to be taking place behind the scenes, but we're just going to be getting lost into what we're viewing, what's on the television, what's telling us our vision. We may just get lost into those energies and get wet off of, oh, this is politicking, so this is how they handle business, this is how they get down with the get down, this is how they construct things, this is how they conduct things. But it's a whole different business, it's a whole different conversation going on behind the scenes when it comes to how things are actually playing out, and how that's actually going to be impacting us and influencing us for these next 10 to 15 years. So it really doesn't matter what these puppets are talking about, because that's just to get and gravitate people's attention, so they won't be coming to the realization and coming across people like me online and coming across other people, so they can really understand what's actually going on behind the scenes when it comes to some new Masons finna get initiated in these temples and these Masonic lodges that's going to be in your city and state, that's going to be passing and creating and coming up with these laws, and so that y'all can apply these energies from a not right brain, but a left brain perspective operative, and build their world. So that's all that's really going to be going on. So it really doesn't matter what side you pick, you still going to be building a world at the end of the day. That's all it's really going to come down to. So when it comes to us having power and access to this energy, we need to be utilizing these platforms and have good critical thinking about what's actually going on, so we won't end up getting the short end of the stick when it comes to us voicing our opinion and our ideas and our sentiment, so we can start to see things change in the world for us when it comes to us needing to have better living conditions and have better ways of being able to gain that comfortability and that stability without having to worry if these things are going to be here tomorrow. That's going to be putting extra strength and stress on our body and our mentality and our organs. And next thing you know, we got a mental illness that we have to go to one of these hospitals to get cured from, and these people don't do nothing. They really don't cure it. They just give us a temporary solution so that nothing really gets cured, and then we end up, accumulating a big ass hospital bill that we got to pay back to these individuals because we was giving all of our attention to these magic squares that they got us lost into in the first place, that put all this strength and stress on our organs and our bodies and our mind. Now we have a mental illness. Now we're walking around, debilitated, fatigued, hurting, damaged, things of those natures. You know what I'm saying? Worn and torn, been through the ringer. Just because we're building their world so they can be able to sleep comfortably, but we're not able to put ourselves in that space where we don't have to worry about if these things that we are accumulating that give us that sense of comfortability is going to be here the next day or not. So that's where we need to start to set some form of restrictions and boundaries and start to express our sentiment, regardless if it deals with voting or not. We need to kind of let these individuals know if they want us to continuously to operate this magic square and keep it up to date and make it so that other individuals they're able to feel comfortable, like they have a sense of importance in this world, then they need to kind of will and kneel to our needs and what we need, so that we can be able to feel motivated and inspired to get up and actually work these jobs and put in that blood, sweat, and tears without feeling used and abused at the end of the day, like we're not getting what we're valued, because we're going to keep seeing them playing with prices. We're going to keep seeing them manipulate us. We're going to keep seeing put us in spells and witchcraft and turmoil spiritually, just so they can feel like they got a sense of power at the end of the day. But when it comes to the normal individual that looks like me and you from the same background, we're not really understanding the full totality or seeing the bigger picture of what's actually going on, because we are programmed to think limited. We're programmed to think small. We're not programmed to have comprehension that can be able to understand everybody's walks of life. So that's the type of mental concept and mental template that they got most of us in, producing and emanating thoughts and feelings. So we only can get to the point where we're only pulling each other down, playing crab in the bucket energy, instead of lifting each other up, helping each other out and supporting each other so that we can start to build real community without feeling threatened, or without feeling like if we start to build this real community and come together as a people, we won't have to worry about things getting destroyed, things getting blown up. Our people, our phenotype that we're getting ready to create, the individuals in the buildings that we're getting ready to build, getting ready to be destroyed because these individuals have some form of jealousy and are lost into some form of ego and narcissism against individuals who are willing to stand firm into their power and, you know, be able to gain comfortability with those energies and start to build with individuals on that level. So those, without having to go through what, you know, the natives or the indigenous individuals went through when it comes to them coming and invading and taking over this geographical location in the Western Hemisphere, which in the first place, all this over here should have been left alone. We should have left this and gave this hemisphere to mama so that mama can produce cycles and minerals, and we can be able to have sky mountains that will be able to get derived out of the sea level from this hemisphere, and then we'll be able to actually see the real technology and how the real technology from the indigenous really wants us to be able to live from the earth, because we are these things, we created these things, we are a piece of these things. So we got to understand that energy, and they really had no business coming over here making everything square, flattening mama, making it hard for us to be able to think, making it hard for us to be able to comprehend, making it hard for us to be able to raise our vibration and be able to be more aware of different type of things, because our mind is so limited, our mind is so level, our mind is so square. We're not able to be rounded when we're just dealing with things that deals with our creativity and things of those natures, and be able to integrate and cultivate more on those energies, like how the natives and the indigenous was doing it. We're more logical, we're more calculated now, we're more squaring our circles now, and they brought all that energy over here from Egypt and from the eastern continents to kind of get us lost and indoctrinated into things that they are now dumping on this land and this soil, which doesn't even resonate with this energy over here, with this whole water cycle, with this whole waterfront over here, how this atmosphere interact with humans, and how humans and organs and creatures get developed out of this water, the stars below the horizon, the stars of the nighttime. That really don't even resonate over here like that. That energy is like a whole, it's like foreign to the creatures and the land creatures that get derived and that create organs out of this water. It's kind of like foreign to all these creatures, because we deal more with the woo, the hey, hi, ho, ooh, hoo, he. Oh my ring, hold on. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about. We deal more with the who, ooh, you, ye, ho, oh, hey, not the. They deal more with that hey, hi, hi. Put those two vowels together. Ha. They do. That sounds crazy, but that's the word. They deal more with that. They deal more with the coming from the east. Hey, hi, ho. Get it coming to the west. Ho, hoo, he, hoo, ooh, woo. We deal more with the ooh, the woo. So that's more of our energy. That's more of the energy, like that. It taps us more into the ooh, root chakra, ooh, woo. So when you hear like police sirens and things of those natures playing out in the world, in the atmosphere, the woo. That's them just copying the natives, because that's what the natives was doing when they was invaded on this land, to get them scared, because they didn't know this land, they didn't know this soil like how the natives knew this soil. So they'll come over here, try to set up shop and everything, because they wanted this land. They seen how things was being produced out of this land. They was rubbing their hands together like Birdman hair, and they're like, ooh, look at how the trees is growing. Look at how the grass is growing. Look how fruit is growing over here. Look at the women. The women are beautiful. The men have large dicks. The women have juicy titties and big booties and things of those natures, jiggly waterfalls and things of those natures. Look how things is being produced in this atmosphere, and they kind of got jealous. They kind of like, I can't have these things, so I'm gonna try to control these things. I'm gonna try to manipulate these things from behind closed doors. But first, I got to set up my magic squares. First, I got to get everybody indoctrinated into my religions and my politics and my little dick insecurity energies and things of those natures. That's how they was looking at it. So that's why it's so many, that's why everything is square. But it had to come to some form of agreements with the natives. But that's how the natives kind of help how the natives kind of help these individuals make deals over here. And that's why our houses and certain buildings look like they are like teepees, because we got triangles at the top. So that's where the natives came in handy at, because this is their land. They originated from this land. So they know how to have a little bit better correspondence and synchronicities with the energies, as above so below. And we all got a piece of native in us, Native American in us, because these was the main individuals that was fucking the Europeans and the Germans and the Arabs to kind of create this mud race that we are now. So they're trying to make everybody black and white. They're trying to make everybody kind of like one or two genders and get rid of all the ethnicities. So there's only like one or two ethnicities left, and everybody's just black and white mutts. So we don't have no original father. We don't have no original father. We don't have no original idea. We all fall under one of their templates when it comes to Neoplatonism, a European. Who else? I don't even know these cats. I only know these cats. These cats need to know me. I only know these cats, but all these cats, Neoplatonism, Aristotle, German, all those individuals who brought their theologies and their ideas and their concepts and their mathematics and their sciences over here to get individuals indoctrinated and kind of extract that true indigenous nature and science from them. So this is them kind of getting ahead of the game as well when it comes to the advancement of technologies, because they came over here and kind of stole and plagiarized things from the natives and took back over there to Germany and Europe to kind of produce products and make money. Because the way that they see things, the natives don't see things the way that they see things. They see things like money and capitalism. We see things like mama and freedom. So the natives, they're gonna deal more with freedom. They look at the land like, okay, we need this land to be free. So that's their form of coming to some form of spiritual sovereignty and how they're able to get liberation. But once the Jews and the Germans and the Greeks and the Greek mans came over here, they got their Birdman hands rubbed. They're looking at all these things. They're looking at the women. They're looking at the man. They're looking at the nature. And in their mind, how their mind is thinking, oh, we're going to take this back to our grandfathers. We're going to take this back to our grandparents. So we can capitalize off this. So we can make money off this. We can make money how things is being produced in this atmosphere. Because the way that things is looking in our atmosphere, we already done destroyed half of those things. We already done made half of the men and women over their mutts. So now we can have this fresh start. You know what I'm saying? We can have this fresh start to make these individuals mutts and drop our nuts over here and things of those nature. So that's how they thinking about it, and that's not really how the natives are thinking about it. The natives want this land to kind of thrive off just being free, letting it just let it go in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Just let it go in a sense, kind of living in that type of way, living in a way of not being so indoctrinated or brainwashed by the washi who and things of those natures. So those how things was going to be established if these invaders would have never came over here and got ahead of the curve and trying to put us in a space where everything is right now, like everything is all digital, and they're actually trying to control the sun. They're actually trying to control the events that's going on in the world. They're actually trying to control things of this nature. So we're not being able to understand our actual technology when it comes to us being aware of our mind, our organ, our spirit, and how these natures work. They got us lost into this phone. They got us lost into this synthetic way of learning. They got us lost into all these technologies and all this digital and all these technological advances that's really creating more trouble, that's really harming the atmosphere, and that's really harming nature and things of those natures. So from the creation of all this technology, we're gonna get extra thunderstorms, we're gonna get hurricanes, man-made thunderstorms happening that's gonna be destroying people and things of those natures. Just another form of genocide. That's all it really is, just another form of genocide that these individuals are controlling, because they was able to come over here and learn the blueprint and get materials from over here to be able to produce these things. But that's not how the original indigenous template is supposed to be. We are the technology. You got 7 planets. You got 7 planets that you're able to use. You got a spaceship. Your mind is the technology. That's what we need to be evolving. I understand that all these things are good because now we have access online and we're able to, communicate with each other. But if the indigenous would have just took over and we would have learned from that way of living, we would have had communities, and these communities would have been coming together and thriving, and we wouldn't have to go through so much harshness and turmoil that we're going through nowadays just to rub 2 pennies together because we're lost into these individuals' magic square and complaining about needing liberation or respiration, because at the end of the day we're getting the short end of the stick, and they're not gonna give us any form of direction. They're not really gonna care. At the end of the day, they're gonna tell us to go vote, and that vote really don't matter at the end of the day. So we got to understand these energies. So that's what Mercury getting ready to go into Libra, this is what our mind is going to be a little bit more focused on. Our mind is going to be a little bit more focused, and we're going to be critiquing more things that deals with, are we balanced? Are we getting any form of balance, or are we getting taken advantage over? And let me start voicing my opinion. Let me start talking. Let me start exercising my power. So once things become unfair, I can be the voice of reasoning for things can get back to that point where we're not getting the short end of the stick. And depending on your level of awareness and what type of spirit you are utilizing these mentalities and these chakras and these intuitions and these stimuli, if you are broader spirit, you're able to connect to everybody. You're able to connect to a broad amount of individuals and be able to kind of be some revolutionary with some Aquarian type of energy to make everybody kind of question themselves and look around themselves and look at other people, places, or things and be like, you know what, they do got us lost into all these indoctrinations. They do got us going against each other, fighting against each other, fighting amongst each other, when we all can just be coming together and be really in our kingship and queenship power. And we start to build more on those energies. But they got all of us fighting against each other's, being Bloods, Crips, gang members, disciples, needing militaries, needing wars, creating more wars, just to keep us lost into these, templates, and just to keep us lost into this world and keep melting metals and killing each other. By the end of the day, they don't have to lift a finger because they got everybody playing out this general principle and operation variables. So they're just saying, everybody who was born over here, suck my dick. You know what I'm saying? It gets real crazy just trying to get into the psyche and the subconscious of these individuals. But that's really how it is, though. That's really how they think. It's like they lack the thought. They lack the thought and the feeling. They lack the empathy and the sympathy for other individuals, for humans, because it's like this is how they got to feel. This is how they got to be. They got to be hard and uptight and stuck up. They got to be like this. They got to be like, fuck that thought, fuck that feeling, fuck them, kill them all. They got to be like that because that's how they got into that position of power, and they'll feel weak. They'll feel like they letting one of their ancestors or their grandparents down if they don't. And it's demonic and it's narcissistic in nature. It's just like a narcissistic nature, a narcissistic stimuli that, individuals and spirits like me, we trying to extract that narcissistic stimuli from y'all. So y'all can come up with healthier practices, healthier ways to live, and healthier ways to, walk amongst each other without having to rub each other the wrong way, or the other individual feel like they're getting their toes or whatever stepped on, and things of those natures. But those are going to be some of the energies that we're going to be dealing with Mercury getting ready to go into Libra. But right now, we're all going to be feeling some form of internal conflict. We're all going to be dealing with some form of internal conflict when it comes to the things that we may have been planting seeds into, and the things that we may have been passionately invested into, because we may not be seeing these energies getting catered towards in a timely fashion. So this may lead us into questioning ourselves and reflecting on ourselves to see where we may have been falling short, or where we may have been, not been in healthy spaces to kind of be able to reap the fruit that we bear at things of those natures. And this may put us in a whole bunch of, self-doubt, and we may deal with a whole bunch of self-doubt and insecurities right now for these next, 1.5 days, because the moon is finna get ready to slide into Leo, where things are going to be a little bit more lighter. We're going to be able, all these energies that's been bubbling up behind the surface is going to be able to come to the surface, and then we're going to be able to, set the stage for these feelings to be expressed, and use the sun in Libra to try to create some form of balance and fairness and harmony between our emotions and our actions, and it's going to create an opportunity. But right now it's like the preparation to make sure that we have the right ideas and the right feelings, and we're in the right space when it comes to the things that's on our heart, and making sure we don't have too much of the negative lower octave energies, you know, lingering around and building up as a aura. So now we got this aura around us that's negative, that's toxic, that's germinating negative seeds, that's germinating, you know, bad seeds. And if we don't have a healthy release system, this energy may get expressed negatively and unwarranted towards individuals that didn't really need it. You know, they didn't really need to hear that. They didn't really need to, you know, catch that attitude, because, you know, the moon and Mars is clicking up right now. And Mars is slid into, you know, the second decan of you know, Cancer. So this is going to be influenced by Scorpio. So this is going to be us being a little bit more aware of power and control issues, transformations, sex, secrets, alternative motives, and things of those natures. So some of these energies may be flaring back up right now. That's going to be making us emotionally react and respond in a way, or put a guard up, or put a shield up, or create an aura around ourselves. Like, okay, we don't want to feel vulnerable like that again. We don't want to get put in that circumstance or situation again. If we have been around individuals who may have manipulated us on a level, we're not going to want to feel that again. And we may have this woman, this deep internal emotion that may be bubbling back up, that we have to kind of fight with. We may be going through a fight with ourselves right now, to kind of, we may be talking to ourselves real harsh right now, talking to that woman real harsh right now, like, damn, I don't want to feel that again. Damn, I don't want to get put in that circumstance or situation. Let me get hard. Let me get hard in the mind. Let me make sure I got a good ass sword. Let me make sure I got a good ass, you know, staff, so I can stab whoever, I can sting whoever try to put me in that vulnerable position again. You know what I'm saying? Things of those natures. So we may be getting real hard in the mind right now, and you know that's necessary. But we just gotta make sure that we don't get too hard, and then we end up, you know, being hard and hearted, and not have no compassion, and not have no empathy, and not have no grace for one another. Because at the end of the day, God is gonna have grace for you. So you got to know how to have grace for other individuals, even if the individual did you wrong. That's something they did on their own. You know, they did themselves. So that's some internal self-realization and shadow work that they got to do, and they got to take up with God. So you ain't really got nothing to do with that. You can go ahead and separate yourself from that energy and understand the lesson from it, and not be so hard on yourself, not beat yourself up, not down yourself, not feel insecure, not feel like you're incapable, because what has happened in your past and things of those natures, that doesn't determine or dictate your future and where you're going. But you can kind of utilize that lesson as a form of artillery that you can add to your spaceship, your mentalities, your thoughts, and your feelings. So next time around, you'll have a more sophisticated and a better way of attacking that subject, or attacking that goal, or attacking that passion or dream or imagination or fantasy, whatever you got your mindset on. So always keep that in mind, without letting these energies cloud your judgment and persuade you, emotionally persuade you to go in a different direction, or doubt yourself, doubt your dreams, doubt your goals, doubt your imaginations, because you feel like you got this woman talking in your ear. You can't do that, you can't achieve that, you still got this to deal with, you still got that to deal with, you still got people out here but you got to kind of silence that. Sometimes you got to you got to tell your mind to shut up. You got to tell all these things around you to shut up sometimes, and just be, because these things can kind of be like a mini devil. You know what I'm saying? How Geminis, how they kind of depict Geminis with a devil on the right side and an angel on the left side. That's how these energies kind of play out nowadays, especially with all these Gemini energies that have been in the sky, with Jupiter being in Gemini as well. So with Jupiter being in Gemini, that's going to be having us confused. You know, that's going to be having us not knowing what side of the bed to wake up on when it comes to our faith, our belief, and our imagination, and our meanings and our reasonings. So one day we may wake up on this side and pick this side, this angel. Then the next day we may pick the devil. So we got to kind of have some form of equilibrium as well, so we won't be seen as unwise when it comes about our decision making and our morality and our faith and our beliefs, and what we put in our faith, belief, and imaginations into. Things of those natures, that's developing our belief system and our morality and things of those natures. But with this internal battle that we're all going to be going through, these energies is really going to be coming from, you know, Mars and the moon clicking up. So this is going to be like a little little energies that we're gonna have to kind of deal with for this next day and a half until the moon get into, you know, Leo. And if we don't take care of those energies and do that self-evaluation or that self-realization or reflect on these spaces, you know, take this time to reflect, take this time to kind of look at yourself and do some self-analyzation, and go to the hall of mirror and kind of look at that shape and that form and that creature for what it is, and try to see if it's something good that we produce. Is it a good fruit that we produce, or is it a bad fruit that we produce? And if it's a bad fruit, we need to kind of cut that fruit and throw that fruit away. But if it's a good fruit, we need to, you know, look at that fruit and kind of bite that fruit. You know what I'm saying? If it's a good fruit, you got good emotions and feelings about yourself. If you still feel good about yourself, you feel all good about yourself and things of those natures, you need to express that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be running away from, you know, expressing your charismatic gifts and talents, because you ain't gonna have no choice once the moon get into Leo. You may not even know that you're going to be doing it when the moon get into Leo, but you're going to be expressing yourself in that fashion when the moon get into Leo. But if you still got, you know, grudges, if you still got animosity built up against people, places, and things, if you still got those energies built up, then, you know what I'm saying, you can kind of redirect that energy. You got to make sure that you redirect that energy, and make sure that you don't let that energy overtake you or overwhelm you or get the best of you, so that you feel like, you know, if I don't express this energy, if I don't get this feeling across, nobody's gonna understand me. Nobody's really gonna know. Nobody's really gonna hear me. I'm not gonna feel seen. I'm not gonna feel heard. And things of those natures. I need the validation because how I feel, because my emotions, because that's like the main space that individuals is gonna be in. Wanting some form of validation for their deep emotions, or some form of emotional connection that they may not have did the self realization or evaluation to kind of look at. So they may be self-centered or narcissistic. So we got to make sure that we're not playing out those self-centered or narcissistic energies and wanting some form of validation for something that we haven't took care of ourselves. Because the way that we relate to ourselves internally, that's gonna dictate how we relate to other individuals externally. So your internal is always gonna reflect the external. So always keep that in mind as well when it comes to you being able to relate and come across relatable to other individuals. And that's going to be the main theme for Libra season. How well are we going to be able to relate? So first, we got to make sure that we're able to relate to ourselves. We're able to have those internal dialogues with ourselves. We're able to come to grips to things with ourselves first before we start to present that energy externally to other people, places, and things. Because if we don't take care and cater towards what's going on internally first, then we may rub individuals the wrong way externally. They may feel like we're stepping on our toes, or we're misunderstanding, or we're prejudging, and we're not really seeing the full totality of the circumstance or the situation, because we're lost into ourselves. All the thoughts and feelings that have accumulated, all the light that have accumulated, all the colors and vibrations that have accumulated, we don't got lost into that world. We got lost into that world. Now we're sinking in that world. Now we're drowning in that world. We're trying to grasp for, you know, some fresh air. We're trying to grasp to get back to the surface so we can have some form of understanding. So we won't be lost into our fire, water, air, and earth. We'll be able to be the spirit that's controlling these things at will, and not getting lost into those desires and thinking that we're the brightest thing, but really we're just lost into our own darkness. So we got to make sure that we don't let our own darkness put us in this sunken place or an abyss. And then now we're scared to actually interact with individuals. We're scared to participate with the world. We're doubting ourselves. We're lowering and devaluing ourselves because we're planting seeds into the wrong areas. We're planting seeds into the wrong people, places, and things. And then it gets deep. It gets deep when you get into the psyche. And then that puts us going down a whole line of reasoning and trains of thoughts of now we needing a cope. You know what I'm saying? Now we needing a cope. Now we needing a mental crutch. Now we're developing mental illnesses. Now we need other individuals to reflect on, to feel good about ourselves. Now we only want to see other people being down so we can feel good about ourselves, so we can feel like we're in a good position. So it gets deep, and these are all the energies that we got to make sure that we are balancing internally before we start to express ourselves externally. Because right now it's going to be trying off with Mars being in this fallen position and the moon being home. It's going to feel good, but it's gonna be negative. It may feel good. It may feel good, but it's still gonna be negative. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta make sure that we're kind of lessening the percentage level of the negative things and not getting so distracted or so lost into the negative things that's been going on in our life, and trying to kind of transmute and transform that energy so we can be able to put ourselves in a better circumstance and situation, so we can start to produce better things, more healthier outcomes and results and solutions, instead of us being in that negative spiritual space and being defeated because we may feel like we can't get out of this space. We may feel like we can't get out of that negative, low vibrational space. So this space, we start to agree with it. You know what I'm saying? We start to play out some Adam and Eve ritual. We start to agree with being in that spiritual space. Like, this space must be me. I must be depressed. I must be depressed. I must not be worthy enough. I must bring other people down to my level because I'm a demon and I don't feel like doing the shadow work because other people's gonna look at me like I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get out of that. We gotta get out of that. We gotta get out of those spaces. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it can be. Like, that's how it can get, you know what I'm saying, with all these water energies, and with Mars being in this fallen position. Like, that's not gonna help. It's not gonna help because Mars is falling. We already feel like we're going to some form of internal tower moment. So we already gonna feel like things is falling internally. Things that we was once able to gain comfortability with, we're not able to gain comfortability with that anymore, and that's not gonna work anymore. Trying to continuously give life to those old and outdated mental forms. So this is already putting us in a situation where we have to kind of be our higher self. We have to be in this new space. We have to be the representation and the embodiment of something new. And you know, that's how we're gonna kind of put ourselves in more healthier circumstances and situations. And it may be unfamiliar, but those unfamiliar circumstances and situations and tests that the universe is throwing our way, we just got to, you know, be able to make sure that we have the right things on our mind so we can be able to pass those tests and show the universe that we got some form of, you know, spiritual strength and some endurance to ourselves. You know, we got some spiritual strength and some spiritual endurance, so we won't run away from anything that can be seen as new. And you never know, that new thing, person, place, or thing that the universe may be trying to throw your way may be the same thing that leads you into $1 million or things of those natures. But how would you ever, how will you ever know if you're scared to put yourself in these uncomfortable circumstances and situations to try new things? Because you may be sheltered, you may be spoiled mentally, you may be sheltered mentally and spiritually and physically. You may grow up around parents that was kind of sheltering you from the world and spoiling you, so you never knew how to be independent, you never knew how to be self-sufficient. So we got to make sure that we're not letting those qualities be a detriment to us, and making sure that we're able to put ourselves in a space where we're showing individuals around us that we're able to be independent, we're able to be self-sufficient, and we're able to stand our own ground, because that's always going to play out like energies of spiritual strength at the end of the day. And next thing you know, you're just going to be in that space, and now you're going to be the spiritual adult, helping other individuals out, being a vessel for God, helping other individuals get out of lower octave, low vibrational spaces that they may be lost into, so they can be able to rise above the current and these esoteric weathering systems that we're all going through, that we all deal with. And then we're also going to be having Venus being in Scorpio. So with Venus being in Scorpio, this is going to be a transformation that's going to be going on when it comes to the things that we love, appreciate, value, the things that we used to compromise with, and things of those natures. So we're all going to be going through this death. We're going to be going through this death right now. We're going to feel it too. We're all going to feel this death. Like, dang, I don't enjoy doing that no more. I don't love that. You know what I'm saying? It gets deep. I don't love that person no more. You know what I'm saying? It gets like that. I don't value that anymore. I don't value that. But first we got to make sure that we're doing this with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we may have aspects about ourselves that we may be overindulging into, or we may be overcompensating with, or we may be, you know, things of those natures. You know what I'm saying? We can kind of transmute that energy, but it's like some things that we may have been overcompensating with, that if we don't do it in moderation, then they can end up being a detriment or destroying us, whatever it is. And the universe is going to be showing you. The universe is going to be showing you, whether it's like you like to play video games 24/7 or something like that, or you like to smoke 24/7, or things of those natures. You like to eat, you got to eat in habit. Things that deals with habits and things of those natures, because it's Scorpio. So we got to make sure that we're not lost into any bad habits. Because if we're lost into any bad habits and we're not paying attention, that this is low key, we're low key using these things to cope, then the universe is going to be looking at this person, place, or thing that we're using to cope, and we're not trying to take that self accountability or that self responsibility for. It's going to transform that. It's going to go through a Pluto moment. It's going to go through a death, and then it's going to get swept from under our feet. So we got to make sure that we're not holding in any secrets. I'm going to say that, or having any alternative motives or secret agendas, or using these things for coping mechanisms, and not really seeing or paying attention to, you know, the light, the light. You know what I'm saying? Because Scorpio can kind of blind us. All this water energy can kind of blind us, and it can kind of put us in space like, dang, if I didn't have this video game, if I didn't have this video game, if I wasn't playing this video game 24/7, I wouldn't be who I am. The universe gonna be looking at you like, you don't play that video, give me that. Something mysterious, man. God works in mysterious ways. I'm telling you, it's all out of love though. It's all gonna be out of love though, cause you know, man, other people may see things in you that you don't even see in yourself, and that's how this world is. Like, other people may see things in you that you may not even see in yourself, and other people may be giving you the right advice. They may be like, man, you need to change your habits, you need to change your ways, for something ain't not happening to you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody may have a conversation with you in that way, but you may not see these qualities in yourself because you blinded. You blinded by your own lights. You blinded by your own desires, and you're gonna end up running to a shadow priest. And that shadow priest is gonna take all that away from you because you wasn't valuing yourself. You was using these things to cope. You let your will become a desire. So we just got to make sure we don't let our will become a desire. So those are going to be the energies that we're all going to be going through when it comes to this transformation that we're all going to be feeling. Whether that was a love language, how you used to express your love, the things that you used to value, the people that you used to value, the people that you used to compromise with, the things that you are valuing, the things that you are compromising with. However this energy is playing out in your life, these are going to be the energies that we're all going to be affecting, and we all have to go through this death, ashes to ashes, from dust to dust, to rise again as a phoenix, so we can be able to craft something up and carve something else out of this energy that we have let go and got put into this new space of nakedness. So now we're a phoenix just flying around, being vulnerable, and making sure that we're in the right spaces, interacting with the right people, places, and things that's more trustworthy, so we can open ourselves up, open our stargate, open up our stargate up to, so we won't feel like we're getting taken advantage over, or we won't be the individual taking advantage over other people, because it's just going to be us manifesting more karma and manifesting more blood on our hands and things of those natures. But these are going to be all the, you know, internal energies that we're going to be having to maneuver through, and these are going to be some of the energies that we're going to be going through. But we just got to make sure that we don't let these energies outweigh us and make us feel like we're incapable, because these water energies is going to be kind of tapping us back into our past circumstances and situations, and looking over these contracts, looking over the deals that we have made, and kind of looking at these things like, dang, why wasn't I good enough? Why wasn't I valued? Why wasn't I valued that way? What was I missing? It's not what you was missing, it's what you wasn't seeing, because you are this energy. You had the energy all along. You just didn't see it. And the people, places, and things you may have been around, specific people, places, and things, put in what God gave you into them, and they didn't have it, but you had it, if you know where I'm coming from. So it's not about what you're missing, it's about what you got. Because what you're looking for, don't be looking, don't be in search, because that's just another form of lostness, because you got everything. It's not about what you're looking for, it's about what you already got. So we just got to make sure that we're utilizing what we already got. If you want a loyal relationship, don't go out looking for a loyal relationship. You be the loyal person within that relationship, and then God and goddesses in the universe will carve out the right person, place, of thing, circumstances, scenarios to show you, to test your loyalty. And if you are loyal and this person isn't loyal, you're gonna end up being the one that's right in a circumstance, in a situation, if something do happen between y'all, because you was just being yourself, and this person may have been getting persuaded or misguided, or, you know, just a naive spirit that was just wanting to experience something at the moment. So you just got to understand those energies and how these energies are playing out in the sky. But those are going to be some of the energies that we're going to be going through when it comes to all these water energies being in the sky. It's gonna kind of be making us doubt ourselves, and it's gonna be an extra struggle whenever the moon get in Leo, because we're all gonna want to be in this emotional space of, dealing with things that deals with our creativity, our self-expressions. And if we don't take care of this energy right now, or just understanding what's upcoming, we may sting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We may sting ourselves. We may put out our fire, or we may be the party pooper. We may let down our own self when it comes to the things that we need to be setting the stage for. So make sure that you're not being stinging yourself, stinging your own heart, because you may feel incapable, because you may feel like you're being disvalued, or you need the validation. You may sting yourself doing that. You're gonna sting yourself doing that, and you're gonna end up going through some ego degradation, or have a ego death, or however that energy playing out. So just understand that, and make sure that you're not letting these water energies get the best of you and put out your light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. But yeah, it's been Hootla 360. Hope I enjoyed this video. Peace.